was all the excitement of a race about it. Chirp, 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 cricket a mile ahead. Hum, 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 kettle making play in the distance like a great top. Chirp, 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 cricket round the corner. Hum, 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 kettle sticking to him in his own way, no idea of giving in. Chirp, 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 cricket fresher than ever. Hum, 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 kettle slow and steady. Chirp, 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 cricket going in to finish him. Hum, 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 kettle not to be finished, until at last they got so jumbled together in the hurry, scurry, helter-skelter of the match that whether the kettle chirped and the cricket hummed, or the cricket chirped and the kettle hummed, or they both chirped and both hummed, it would have taken a clearer head than yours or mine to have decided with anything like certainty. But of this there is no doubt, that the kettle and the cricket, at one and the same moment, and by some power of amalgamation best known to themselves, sent, each in his fireside song of comfort, streaming into a ray of the candle that shone out through the window and a long way down the lane. And this light, bursting on a certain person who, on the instant, approached toward it through the gloom, expressed the whole thing to him, literally in a twinkling, and cried, "Welcome home, old fellow! Welcome home, my boy!" This end attained, the kettle being dead beat, boiled over, and was taken off the fire. Mrs. Peerybingle then went running to the door, where, what with the wheels of a cart, the tramp of a horse, the voice of a man, the tearing in and out of an excited dog, and the surprising and mysterious appearance of a baby, there was soon the very what's-his-name to play. Where the baby came from, or how Mrs. Peerybingle got hold of it in that flash of time, I don't know. But a live baby there was in Mrs. Peerybingle's arms, and a pretty tolerable amount of pride she seemed to have in it, when she was drawn gently to the fire by a sturdy figure of a man, much taller and much older than herself, who had to stoop a long way down to kiss her. But she was worth the trouble. 6'6" with the lumbago might have done it. "Oh, goodness, John," said Mrs. P., "what a state you're in with the weather!" He was something the worse for it, undeniably. The thick mist hung in clots upon his eyelashes like candied thaw, and between the fog and fire together there were rainbows in his very whiskers. "Why, you see, Dot," John made answer slowly, as he unrolled a shawl from about his throat and warmed his hands, it ain't exactly summer weather, so no wonder." "I wish you wouldn't call me Dot, John. I don't like it," said Mrs. Peerybingle, pouting in a way that clearly showed she did like it very much. "Why, what else are you?" returned John, looking down upon her with a smile, and giving her waist as light a squeeze as his huge hand and arm could give. "A Dot and—" here he glanced at the baby. "A Dot and Carrie, I won't say it for fear I should spoil it, but I was very near a joke. I don't know as ever I was nearer." He was often near to something or other very clever by his own account, this lumbering, slow, honest John, this John so heavy but so light of spirit, so rough upon the surface but so gentle at the core, so dull without, so quick within, so stolid but so good. Oh, Mother Nature, give thy children the true poetry of heart that hid itself in this poor carrier's breast. He was but a carrier, by the way, and we can bear to have them talking prose, and leading lives of prose, and bear to bless thee for their company. It was pleasant to see Dot, with her little figure and her baby in her arms, a very doll of a baby, glancing with a coquettish thoughtfulness at the fire, and inclining her delicate little head just enough to one side to let it rest in an odd, half-natural, half-affected, wholly nestling and agreeable manner on the great rugged figure of the carrier. It was pleasant to see him, with his tender awkwardness, endeavouring to adapt his rude support to her slight need, and make his burly middle age a leaning staff, not inappropriate to her blooming youth. It was pleasant to observe how Tilly Slowboy, waiting in the background for the baby, took special cognizance, though in her earliest teens, of this grouping. and stood with her mouth and eyes wide open and her head thrust forward, taking it in as if it were air. Nor was it less agreeable to observe how John the carrier, reference being made by Dot to the aforesaid baby, checked his hand when on the point of touching the infant as if he thought he might crack it, and bending down surveyed it from a safe distance with a kind of puzzled pride, such as an amiable mastiff might be surprised to show if he found himself one day the father of a young canary.
"Ain't he beautiful, John? Don't he look precious in his sleep?"
"Very precious," said John. "Very much so. He generally is asleep, ain't he?"
"Lord, John, good gracious, no."
"Oh," said John, pondering. "I thought his eyes was generally shut. Hullo!"
"Goodness, John, how you startle one!"
"It ain't right for him to turn 'em up in that way," said the astonished carrier. "Is it? See how he's winking with both of 'em at once, and look at his mouth. Why, he's gasping like a gold and silver fish."
"You don't deserve to be a father, you don't,"
said Dot, with all the dignity of an experienced matron.
"But how should you know what little complaints children are troubled with, John? You wouldn't so much as know their names, you stupid fellow."
And when she had turned the baby over on her left arm and slapped its back as a restorative, she pinched her husband's ear, laughing. "No," said John, pulling off his outer coat. "It's very true, Dot. I don't know much about it. I only know that I've been fighting pretty stiffly with the wind tonight. It's been blowing northeast, straight into the cart the whole way home."
"Poor old man, so it has!"
cried Mrs. Peerybingle, instantly becoming very active.
"Here, take the precious darling, Tilly, while I make myself of some use. Bless it, I could smother it with kissing it, I could. Hi, then. Good dog. Hi, Boxer boy. Only let me make the tea first, John, and then I'll help with the parcels like a busy bee. How doth the little, and all the rest of it, you know, John. Did you ever learn how doth the little when you went to school, John?"
"Not quite to know it," John returned. "I was very near it once, but I should only have spoilt it, I dare say." laughed Dot. She had the blithest little laugh you ever heard.
"What a dear old darling of a dunce you are, John, to be sure."
Not at all disputing this position, John went out to see that the boy with the lantern, which had been dancing to and fro before the door and window like a will-o'-the-wisp, took due care of the horse, who was fatter than you would quite believe if I gave you his measure, and so old that his birthday was lost in the mists of antiquity. Boxer, feeling that his attentions were due to the family in general and must be impartially distributed, dashed in and out with bewildering inconstancy, now describing a circle of short barks round the horse where he was being rubbed down at the stable door, now feigning to make savage rushes at his mistress and facetiously bringing himself to sudden stops, now eliciting a shriek from Tilly Slowboy in the low nursing chair near the fire by the unexpected application of his moist nose to her countenance, now exhibiting an obtrusive interest in the baby, now going round and round upon the hearth and lying down as if he had just established himself for the night, now getting up again and taking that nothing of a fag end of a tail of his out into the weather, as if he had just remembered an appointment and was off at a round trot to keep it.
There's the teapot, ready on the hob,"
said Dot, as briskly busy as a child at play at keeping house.
"And there's the cold knuckle of ham, and there's the butter, and there's the crusty loaf and all. Here's a clothes basket for the small parcels, John, if you've got any there. Where are you, John? Don't let the dear child fall into the grate, Tilly, whatever you do."
It may be noted of Miss Slowboy, in spite of her rejecting the caution with some vivacity, that she had a rare and surprising talent for getting this baby into difficulties, and had several times imperiled its short life in a quiet way peculiarly her own. She was of a spare and straight shape, this young lady, insomuch that her garments appeared to be in constant danger of sliding off those sharp pegs, her shoulders, on which they were loosely hung. Her costume was remarkable for the partial development on all possible occasions of some flannel vestment of a singular structure, also for affording glimpses in the region of the back of a corset or a pair of stays in colour a dead green, being always in a state of gaping admiration at everything, and absorbed besides in the perpetual contemplation of her mistress's perfections and the baby's. Miss Slowboy, in her little errors of judgment, may be said to have done equal honour to her head